Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly attract success while others struggle despite working just as hard? What if I told you that an ancient biblical principle holds the key to unlocking wealth, fulfilling relationships, and extraordinary achievement in every area of your life? Are you ready to discover the secret that transformed an ordinary farm boy into America's most influential success philosopher? A secret so powerful, yet so simple, that it's been hiding in plain sight for thousands of years. Today, we're diving into the revolutionary wisdom of Jim Rohn and the biblical principle that changed everything for him and could change everything for you. This isn't just another motivational talk. This is about the fundamental law that governs all achievement, a principle so unwavering that Jim Rohn built his entire philosophy around it. He who walks with the wise will be wise, but the companion of fools suffers harm. This ancient proverb reveals the extraordinary power of our associations. The people we choose to surround ourselves with ultimately determine who we become. Imagine having complete control over your future results. Imagine knowing with absolute certainty that your daily associations are creating your reality tomorrow. What would you do differently? How would you live if you truly understood that every relationship, every conversation, every mentor you choose has the power to transform your destiny? The answer to these questions could be worth millions to you in dollars, relationships, and life satisfaction. Are you ready to discover what Jim Rohn knew that most people never will? Emmanuel James. Jim Rohn was born in Yakima, Washington, on September 17, 1930, to a hard-working farm family. His humble beginnings would later inform his philosophy about the value of diligence and perseverance. After dropping out of college after just 1 year, Rohn began his professional journey as a department store clerk. By age 25, he was struggling financially, unable to see a path forward. His life transformed when he met his mentor, entrepreneur John Earl Schoaf, who introduced him to personal development concepts that would change his trajectory forever. Within 6 years, Rohn had become a millionaire through direct sales, but his true calling emerged when he began sharing his philosophy through seminars and speeches. What distinguished Rohn was his extraordinary ability to communicate complex ideas with simplicity and impact. His soft-spoken, unassuming style belied the power of his message. Unlike many motivational speakers who relied on temporary emotional highs, Rohn offered substantive principles that produced lasting change. His influence extends through generations of thought leaders including Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, Jack Canfield, and countless others who consider him their mentor. Until his passing in 2009, Rohn remained dedicated to the idea that success is something you attract by the person you become, and that person is largely determined by those with whom you regularly associate. Ready to transform your life with timeless wisdom? Subscribe to our channel now for weekly insights inspired by Jim Rohn and other personal development masters. Click the subscribe button below and join our community of growth-minded individuals. The principle of walking with the wise stands as one of the most foundational teachings across Judeo-Christian scripture. While most explicitly stated in Proverbs 13:20, "He who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm." This concept appears throughout both Old and New Testaments. In its original context, this teaching served multiple purposes: as practical social wisdom in an interconnected community, as a moral framework for understanding influence, and as a spiritual principle regarding character development. The ancient Hebrews understood this concept intimately through their community experience. They recognized that character, skills, and wisdom weren't developed in isolation, but through intentional association. King Solomon, traditionally credited with writing most of Proverbs, observed human nature with remarkable insight. He recognized that people inevitably absorb the qualities, habits, and perspectives of those with whom they spend time. This wasn't merely about avoiding bad influences. It was about actively seeking relationships that would elevate one's thinking, character, and capabilities. What makes this principle so enduring is its observable truth across cultures and time periods. Every advanced civilization independently discovered this same pattern, that human development is profoundly relational. The brilliance of biblical teaching was in codifying this observation as a deliberate life strategy rather than leaving it to chance. It established a framework where personal growth becomes intentional through selective association. This ancient wisdom formed the perfect foundation for Jim Rohn's modern philosophy of personal development in an increasingly individualistic American culture where the power of association is often underestimated. Jim Rohn's genius lay in his ability to extract this ancient principle from its purely religious context and apply it as a universal law of achievement accessible to everyone, regardless of faith background. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, Rohn would often say. This statement perfectly encapsulates his secular reframing of Proverbs 13:20, positioning our associations as the primary determinant of our personal development, financial success, and quality of life. Rohn's interpretation centered on what he called the law of association, emphasizing that our daily relationships function as invisible forces that shape our thinking, expectations, and behaviors. Don't join an easy crowd. You won't grow. Go where the expectations and the demands to perform are high, he famously stated. This perspective placed the power firmly in the hands of the individual. Unlike some success teachings that emphasized tactics alone, Rohn's philosophy balanced practical methods with profound personal responsibility. Your future is being shaped right now by those you choose to associate with. What distinguished Rohn's teaching was his emphasis on intentionality in relationships. If you want to be successful, find someone who has achieved the results you want and copy what they do, and you'll achieve the same results, he taught. This insight transformed the biblical principle into a practical formula for success. He observed that most people allow their associations to form by circumstance rather than by design, accepting whatever relationships happen to be convenient or comfortable rather than strategically seeking those that elevate their thinking and capabilities. Through countless seminars across America, Rohn helped people understand that extraordinary lives don't emerge from ordinary associations. The harvest of success, he taught, was available to anyone willing to carefully select the gardens in which they plant themselves. Transform your life through the power of strategic associations. If you've been inspired by Jim Rohn's reinterpretation of this ancient proverb, subscribe now to receive our exclusive content on implementing these principles in modern American life. Hit subscribe and join thousands who are already reaping the rewards of these timeless teachings. Jim Rohn recognized that truly successful lives required attention to multiple dimensions of association, not just professional connections. He identified 5 crucial territories where the principle of walking with the wise manifests most powerfully in American life. In the financial realm, Rohn taught that wealth creation begins with who you listen to about money. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune, he observed. He encouraged Americans to seek mentors who had actually created wealth, to study the philosophies of the financially successful, and to join masterminds with those committed to prosperity, planting themselves in gardens where financial wisdom was abundant. In relationships, Rohn emphasized quality over quantity. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, became one of his most quoted insights. He taught that meaningful connections require deliberate selection, associating with those who possess the character qualities, relationship skills, and emotional maturity you wish to develop. The harvest of strong relationships, he noted, often arrived when we purposefully surrounded ourselves with those who modeled the qualities we wish to embody. Regarding health and well-being, Rohn was equally practical. Long before wellness became a cultural focus, he advocated for associating with those who maintained the health standards you aspire to achieve. Take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live, he would remind audiences. Simple choices like exercising with disciplined partners, dining with health-conscious friends, and learning from those with vibrant energy were associations that yielded lasting well-being. Perhaps most distinctive was Rohn's emphasis on intellectual associations. Poor people have big TVs, rich people have big libraries, he stated. In a distinctly American tradition of self-improvement, he advocated spending time with great minds through books, seeking conversation with intellectual peers, and attending seminars where ideas flourished. He recommended reading biographies of remarkable individuals, noting that this discipline allowed you to associate with history's greatest minds. Finally, Rohn addressed spiritual growth, not through dogmatic religious prescription, but through encouraging association with those who exemplified strong character, gratitude, and service to others. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job, he advised, recognizing that character development inevitably accelerates when we associate with those who embody wisdom and integrity. One of Jim Rohn's most valuable contributions to American success philosophy was his honest treatment of timing in the transformation process through association. Unlike quick-fix promoters, Rohn acknowledged the natural delay between choosing new associations and experiencing their full impact. We must all suffer one of two things: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret or disappointment, he taught. This insight addressed the fundamental challenge that causes many Americans to abandon growth-oriented relationships before seeing results. The difficult adjustment period when leaving comfortable but limiting associations for challenging, but rewarding ones. Rohn often illustrated this principle through the seasons of agriculture familiar to his Midwestern audiences. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom, he cautioned. He understood that early in any growth process, whether building new business, relationships, finding mentors, or joining growth-oriented communities, there would be discomfort and challenges. This period requires what he called paying the price of association, the willingness to feel temporarily uncomfortable, intellectually stretched, or financially challenged in order to access new levels of wisdom and opportunity. What separated Rohn from many contemporary success teachers was his emphasis on consistency in associations as a cornerstone of achievement. Success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistently applying basic fundamentals, he insisted. This perspective reframes the challenging early period with new associations not as evidence of poor fit, but as essential developmental space where character forms. The most valuable harvests, Rohn taught, often require the most careful cultivation of relationships over time. His teachings encouraged Americans to adopt long-term thinking in their associations in a culture increasingly focused on immediate gratification, reminding them that the most valuable relationships often come to those patient enough to nurture connections through multiple seasons. Are you ready to master the art of strategic associations in your personal growth journey? Subscribe now to receive our exclusive content on developing the network that leads to lasting success. Join our community today and learn how to transform your 5 closest associations into powerful catalysts for achieving your dreams. The brilliance of Jim Rohn's teaching lies in its practicality. He transformed abstract principles into concrete daily practices accessible to Americans from all walks of life. Central to his approach was the power of association inventory, what he called evaluating your relationship portfolio. Rohn advised writing down the names of the 5 people with whom you spend the most time, then honestly assessing their impact on your ambition, knowledge, health, finances, and character. This practice creates what he termed relationship awareness that motivates intentional association. Financial application begins with Rohn's famous directive to find someone who is already where you want to be financially and spend time with them. This might begin with books and seminars, but should progress to actual relationships, joining investment clubs, attending business conferences, hiring coaches, or creating masterminds with growing entrepreneurs. In relationships, Rohn recommended deliberate decisions about social time, declining invitations from those who drain your energy or undermine your goals, while creating space for those who inspire and challenge you. These small seeds consistently planted yield rich harvests of elevated thinking and expanded possibility. For personal development, Rohn created the concept of distant mentors, using books, audio programs, and courses to associate with great minds even when direct access isn't immediately possible. Miss a meal if you have to, but don't miss a book, he advised. He similarly advocated systematic exposure to wisdom through a process he called planned association, scheduling regular interactions with mentors, joining groups focused on areas you wish to develop, and attending events where growth-minded individuals gather. Perhaps most powerfully, Rohn taught the practice of association leverage, strategically connecting with those just far enough ahead of you to be accessible, yet advanced enough to elevate your thinking. This habit creates what he called achievable stretching that accelerates growth by making the next level visible and attainable. Through these practical applications, Rohn demonstrated that extraordinary results come not from occasional heroic efforts, but from consistent, intentional association with those who embody the wisdom we seek to develop. While Jim Rohn's interpretation of walking with the wise offers powerful wisdom, honest examination requires acknowledging its limitations and potential misapplications in American culture. Critics note that an overemphasis on strategic association can sometimes be misinterpreted as purely utilitarian networking, evaluating relationships solely for their potential benefit rather than their inherent value. Rohn's philosophy emerged during America's post-war economic boom when upward mobility seemed more universally accessible. In today's more complex social landscape, factors like geographical limitations, economic constraints, and access to elite networks significantly impact one's ability to associate with certain circles, regardless of desire or discipline. The principle also faces challenges in contexts where associations aren't freely chosen. Some individuals experience limited options due to family circumstances, workplace realities, or community dynamics that restrict their ability to select ideal associations. Without nuanced application, the principle risks implying that all limitations result from poor choices, potentially breeding judgment rather than compassion. Additionally, some critics observe that American culture's individualistic interpretation can neglect the communal dimensions present in the original biblical teaching, which emphasized mutual growth within community as much as personal advancement through selective association. Perhaps most importantly, Rohn himself acknowledged the principle's necessary balance. Wherever you are, be there. Live in the present, he would advise, recognizing that constant striving for better associations can undermine appreciation for current relationships. The wisdom lies in thoughtful application, selective yet grateful, ambitious yet authentic. These limitations don't invalidate the principle, but invite a more sophisticated application, one that balances aspiration with appreciation, strategic growth with genuine connection. The most mature practitioners of Rohn's philosophy embrace both its empowering truth and its necessary qualifications. Jim Rohn's greatest contribution to American personal development may be his ability to bridge ancient wisdom with modern application, creating a philosophy that transcends both religious and secular boundaries. The principle of walking with the wise in Rohn's hands becomes not merely a spiritual admonition, but a practical framework for navigating life's complexity with intention and wisdom. Your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change, he often said. This simple statement encapsulates the heart of his message, that we participate actively in creating our future through present choices about who influences our thinking, habits, and character. Perhaps what makes Rohn's interpretation so enduring is its balanced perspective. Unlike purely tactical success philosophies that focus exclusively on methods, Rohn emphasized relationship as the foundation for lasting achievement. The greatest gift you can give somebody is your own personal development. I used to say, if You will take care of me, I will take care of you. Now I say, I will take care of me for you if you will take care of you for me, he insisted. This insight shifts focus from merely acquiring connections to becoming a person worthy of valuable relationships, developing qualities like integrity, knowledge, skills, and character that naturally attract meaningful associations. As we navigate an increasingly complex and rapidly changing world, the timeless wisdom of selective association offers a stabilizing perspective. It reminds us that despite technological and cultural shifts, certain principles remain constant. We become like those we habitually admire and emulate. Quality of association ultimately determines quality of life. Character development happens primarily through relationship. These truths, illuminated by Rohn's unique ability to communicate with both simplicity and depth, continue to guide seekers of personal growth decades after he first shared them. His legacy invites each of us to examine our current associations and to cultivate the courage needed to seek relationships that elevate our thinking, expand our possibilities, and ultimately transform who we become. As the ancient proverb promised, and Rohn proved, he who walks with the wise will inevitably become wise.